What's up, everybody? This is your man, DJ Square Knot, and you're tuned into my podcast, Square Knot Live, where we talk about music, real issues, meet great people, and get into fun and engaging topics. With that being said, let's get into it. What up, what up, what up? Hey, this is your man, DJ Square Knot. I want to say hello to everyone. And just hope you guys are having a great weekend and everything is just happening the way you want it to happen this particular weekend. As you know, this podcast, Square Knot Live, I am a DJ, been doing it for decades, 37 years or something like that now. And I know I have a lot of topics that I brought up. But this particular time, I wanted to make sure that I step into my own arena. And my own arena is, of course, DJing. So I am going to be doing a series. For this next several podcasts, I will be talking about DJing. And we're going to get down into taking it all the way back as far as we possibly can from the beginning and take it all the way to the front of what we see now, up to the most recent conversation about equipment and everything. So I'm going to start it off with history. And one of the things that I want you guys to know what's coming is you're going to hear names. You know, I put in here about if you want to learn about the history of hip hop. Who are those five? Who are those pioneers? Who are the ones that you would want to mention? Who are those that you would definitely take the time to make sure you learn? And I would switch that and say, I recommend you learn, because you don't get into something and not know about it. You get what I'm saying? So it's very important to learn the culture, learn about the history of whatever you're getting into. And the same thing goes for DJing. You get into DJing, you want to know the shoulders that you're standing on. So there's going to be names like DJ Kool Herc, Grand Wizard Theodore. There's going to be Grandmaster Flash, of course. Africa Bambaataa is going to correlate also to the forming of the Zulu Nation. Grandmaster Flowers. Grandmaster Caz, as we'll talk more about that. Those are just a few. There are so many out there, but we're going to start out with those. And what I'm going to do is we're going to have a panel of DJs. It's not going to only come from me, but there's going to be a panel of DJs who have experience or have done their research, who are going to come and we're going to talk about these individuals. And we're going to teach you, those who are interested in DJing, those who are in DJing, but don't quite have all those types of answers. Not saying that these answers are going to be the perfect all whatever it is, but at least you will at least be able to have an understanding of the culture that you want to be a part of, or the culture that you are already a part of, because I think that's very important to know what that is. So along with that, you know, just like I said, in terms of just those individuals, there are several more topics that will be brought up. And these are going to be separate episodes, of course. We're going to talk about the different types of DJs. We're going to talk about brand. We're going to even talk about the business side of it, because it's very important that you understand the business side. What's up, Brandon? I see you. Karen, salute. It's very important for you to totally understand what you're getting into as it relates to if you are just doing this just for fun, or if you're turning this into something that is going to be a business or something of that venture. So we'll definitely talk about that. And then, of course, there's so many different things out there, you know, we could talk about in terms of all the components, all the different equipment and the components of the equipment, the features of the equipment. We'll talk about all of that as well. We'll take it all the way back from the days of vinyl and turntables all the way to today's technology of controllers, because technology has truly evolved in the DJ arena. And I remember back in the day of carrying crates of records. These crates would be 20, 25, 30 pounds, depending on how many records was in these things at sometimes. Where to now, you got carrying 20, 30, 40 crates of records for a whole big jam, block party, whatever it may be. Now, all you need is a laptop. So that's the difference of how things have happened now. Not saying that you don't have what we call purists who still like the vinyl, who still utilize the vinyl, because I think every DJ at some point should come in contact with vinyl just to, if you've never used it, learn about it so that you can understand what it was like back in those days as opposed to now. Turntables, not saying that you have to have turntables. You go with what you got. And I always say like this, as it relates to equipment, if you bought it and it's you're using it, hey, no one else should be talking about it. No one else should be talking about your equipment, what you're using or whatever, because at the end of the day, especially if you're playing music for a crowd, the crowd cares less about what you're playing on. All they care about is the music. And the music is playing good enough for them to get on the floor and do what they want to do. That's the key to it all. It's not about what the DJ is doing. And I've also said this before. If a DJ is at a party or something and he's rocking a party and the crowd is just doing their thing, they're out on the floor enjoying themselves or whatever. If that DJ recognizes that there's another DJ, not all DJs do this, but there are some. If that DJ recognizes that there's another DJ that comes in there, all of a sudden, he's going to switch his game up a little bit. He or she may switch their game up a little bit. They may start scratching and doing all this other stuff. And I've always said, we do all that extra stuff for other DJs, not for the crowd, unless it's that type of crowd where they know that they're going to get that. Like, for example, when I went to see Jazzy Jeff, he was on tour, traveling around the world, and you knew that when he came in, he was going to be dropping, he was going to be scratching, he was going to be mixing, he was going to be doing all that. That's what we went there for. But at a gig where you're playing at a party or a reception or some type of anniversary, whatever it is, at the club or whatever it is, they're not looking for you to do all that scratching and stuff. They want you to play some music that's going to make them feel good and be out on the floor. They can care less what you're playing on, and they can care less about all the extra techniques and skills that you may have, as long as you're doing what you're supposed to do to satisfy them. So those are all things that we have to think about, and those are things that we will definitely talk about. We'll get into the visuals. We'll get into a whole bunch of different things, because in this day and age, another piece of DJing, because if you think about some of the pictures that you've seen, if you were fortunate enough to see some of the historical pictures, is what I'm going to call them, of DJs rocking on the ones and twos and got the mics and the amps and the big speakers and everything out there, you saw a whole bunch of wires, because we didn't think about aesthetics at that time. It was about rocking the party, rocking the crowd, reading the crowd and doing what we got to do. But fast forwarding to this particular I'd say the last 10, 15 years, if not more, especially, there's been this part of visuals where now DJing is only 50% of the deal. And then you got your visuals. That's the other part. Now, I'm not saying that they're 100%. Let's not say 50%. Let's say 60-40. I think that would be fair. 60-40, 60% DJing, 40% how you look, especially if you're doing a professional event. If you're just doing parties or whatever, it's definitely all about rocking the crowd and doing all that stuff. Melvin Howard said, if you can rock the crowd with it doesn't matter what someone else thinks you're doing. That's right. Do your thing. That's a fact. And that's exactly what I'm saying. The crowd don't care. As long as that music is coming out of those speakers and it's making a move and groove, that's all they want. That's all they want. But in terms of when we see a DJ, another DJ come in, it's just that, yo, we gotta show them skills off a little bit. But we have to also get in the mindset of, guess what? That DJ didn't pay you to come there. It's cool. And I salute. Every time I do a gig and DJs come in, I call the DJ out and I salute them. I give them their props for being there, because I really appreciate the fact that they've come to check me out. And that's cool. Or just to come enjoy. They may have not come to check me out, or they may not even have known that I was there. But just the mere fact that they've come in and they're enjoying themselves, they're dancing, they're doing whatever, they're vibing with the crowds or whatever. Hey, it is what it is. So salute, and I keep doing what I do. I don't let that phase me at all. But you got some DJs that will let that happen. So we'll talk about all of that as well. We're going to talk about, like I said, the business side of it, of course, which I think is a big part. And the other piece along with the business side is branding. Everyone knows that I wear my brand a lot. You know, DJ Square Knot, that's who I am. And then I always put the little, I've been putting the little .com under the T so that people know the brand, but they also know that the website is there as well. But as far as branding is concerned, how important is branding? If you are one who are just, like I say, you're just chilling, it's a hobby thing for you, you're not going out, you're doing anything, it may not matter to you, but if you're out there and people are starting to recognize who you are, starting to get you to come and play or whatever, you might want to think about it. Get your logo made up, get some other things, and I will help you, and I'll give you some ideas on that. And if, of course, like I say, if you want to take it a step further, there's always the next level of creating a full-fledged business, and we'll definitely talk about all of that as well, so that you don't have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars to do something that you could pretty much do yourself within an hour or so. So we'll definitely talk about that. Some of the questions will definitely come up, like the great old sync button. We will talk about that as well. Several of us here. I appreciate that, Karen. So we're going to talk about all of that. We're going to talk about the sync button. And I put it as to sync or not to sync. That is the question. But also in there, I'm going to talk about harmonic mixing or key mixing, so that you guys understand. And then we'll talk about the different software packages, of course, Serato, Virtual DJ, Tractor. We'll just go right down the line. And whatever floats your boat is what floats your boat. There's not one record box. There's not one particular one I'm going to recommend over the other, because I don't know your style of DJing. I don't know what you're comfortable with, and I don't know what you've used. So I don't want you to go and spend money on something that you may get and you may not like. All I know is it's comfortable for me. So we'll definitely talk about that. We'll talk about the positioning of turntables. Why, if you're using turntables, why do we put those turntables that way? We're going to go back into history on that, because there's a little bit of conflict on that. And there is no definitive answer as it relates to DJs over here and DJs over here. So I'm just going to I'm going to tell you what that position is usually called, and we'll move forward from there. We'll talk about streaming and streaming equipment. We'll talk about other little different things in terms of equipment positioning. And then also one of the other things, because if you are starting out, one of the things that I want you guys to understand is you don't have to go and spend thousands and thousands of dollars to get yourself started. So we'll talk about just some basic stuff just to get you going. I'm not saying, and these are going to be all just simple, my opinion / recommendations. So don't hold me to the fire on this, because if you like one particular brand over the other, that's your prerogative. I'm going to be very general with what it is, and you determine what you want from there. But I'm going to give you what I'm calling the DJ starter kit kind of deal. Just the basics on what you need just to get yourself going a little bit. And from that, hopefully it'll be enough to really put you in a good position to where you can actually start doing something. Get out there, whether it's just practicing to get your skills up. And then once you get your skills up, somebody might say, hey, I have a barbecue. I'm looking for a DJ. Do you mind coming to play? Something as simple as that. And that's how you get your foot in the door, with a lot of different things. So I'm just going to be real about it. If there's anything that I can do, of course, to talk to you about and help, we will definitely do that. And of course, we have, I'm part of several groups, but there's one group in particular where we do talk about a lot of different things, and that's the DJ Information Group. We talk about several things in there. You may be able to pick up some good information in there as well. So, and that's on Facebook, of course, but we will definitely talk about that. So for now, I think with what I have right now, I think I've given you kind of the layout of what's to come. What I would like for you guys to do is tune in to my podcast. Of course, it's scrolling here on the screen. And it's podcast.squareknotlive.com. You can go there and just follow this series. Follow this series and you will begin to see. Thanks, Tron. I appreciate you joining. All the DJs. Salute to all the DJs. Salute to Karen as well. She's been in here. Really, she tagged up a bunch of DJs. So I appreciate that. Most definitely. Brandon Truss, I appreciate you, my man. Melvin, I appreciate you, bro. So I really appreciate all of you guys joining in. And make sure that if there's anything that you have questions about, that I can definitely help you with, I'll do it to the best of my ability. And of course, like I always say, the dumbest question is the one that's not asked. So don't ever think that your question is dumb. Just ask the question, because someone out there may have that same question and was just not as bold as you were to ask the question. So at that point, you're going to help that individual. So please do that. All this information that's going to be coming in this particular series will be live on all the podcast streaming platforms. And you can also get me if you have an Alexa or if you have a Google joint, you can definitely use that. You can get it in your car. If you have Alexa, I listen to Alexa in my car all the time and review my podcast while I'm driving. So just make sure that you look out for that. And that's all to come. And if there's more that you guys just happen to hear as we are going through this particular series that you think I need to add, just put it in the chat. What I think on the next one, what I'll do is I will come through Zoom so that you guys can hop on and maybe chat with some things before I go live, and I could take some show notes and we'll go from there. But this is going to be a good series. Today's podcast is more about just the information of what is to come. But I wanted to make sure that you absolutely knew exactly what was going to happen on these next series of podcasts. So if you're thinking about DJing, if you are already DJing and you feel that you just want some more information or you want a refresher or any of that, please look forward to what we got. I will have some special guests who will come in and talk about equipment, especially like the most notorious piece of equipment being spoken about at this particular time, and that's the Rane 1. We're going to talk about all the Rane products, Newmark products, Pioneer products, Denon products, and several others. Backup gear, which is very important. We're going to talk about that for sure, because you should never be at a gig and not have backup gear just in case you need it. Also, we're going to talk about laptops. We're going to talk about the types of hardware in terms of that, computer-wise. Do you go with a Mac? Do you go with a PC? Whatever you're doing, all of that, to stream or not to stream, So we'll hit most of it. And Melvin, I got you, no doubt. Karen, I appreciate that. On that note, I will just say I appreciate you guys coming through, and I appreciate you guys taking the time with me to come and just support. And we look forward to doing what we got to do to put out good information that we can use and put to action, put it to practice to help each other grow. And there's one more thing I will say as it relates to DJing. Remember, DJs, we're part of a culture, The culture is way bigger than us, but we are a part of, we stay plugged into that culture. And you, along with millions of others, are in this culture. I'm not going to say never, because there's never is not something that can be in life, period, because it's always going to be something. But as it relates to us, try to keep peace as much as possible. Support one another and enjoy each other. There's so many different things that I see in terms of DJs nowadays, which just really is mind-boggling. And the question I always ask is, for what? What is it doing? So get along, enjoy each other, learn from each other, teach each other, and let's build together. I think that's the best way to say it. So I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. This is DJ Square Knot, and I'm out.